tabs on Goji Center's Hybrid Wars, then you may recall seeing a certain angry bird place 9th in the honorable mentions. That right there was my submission, Falco Pacientia, aka Maddie. Although I don't think introductions are really in order, as there's a really high chance you've already seen Maddie's video on this channel. Even Goji Center and Goji Guy watched it.
There was this one dude who had the balls to fight the Indom 2.0 with a bird. I forgot what the bird's name was, but that was a pretty good video.
But these days, no one can just make a super hybrid and not have one of the top responses being challenge accepted. That is exactly what was going on in Goji Headquarters' mind when they designed their own Angry Bird to challenge Maddie. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Potens Alutus Avis, the mighty winged bird. This beautifully designed bird will be challenging Maddie for the title of Queen of the Skies. Will she succeed, or will she become this channel's equivalent of Hank 1.0? Let's take a closer look, shall we? Hidden underneath those beautiful blue feathers is a bird that is near identical to Maddie. Both use peregrine falcon as the base. Both can stay airborne for long periods of time. They have large eagle talons, corvid mindsets, vampire bat DNA, and a raptor rodent combo for iron-infused sharp teeth. It seems that Goji Headquarters' mindset when building Avis was, oh, Maddie has that bird in her genome? Well then Avis will have this bird in her genome since it's better. So on paper, Avis would theoretically be stronger than Maddie. But this starts to fall apart when you look at their stats and find that they are also basically identical. The only difference being that Avis is a tad bit longer and weighs a quarter of Maddie's full weight? Maddie is already like half the weight of the average Argentavis. And yet Avis, who is about the same size, is as heavy as the lightest Host Eagles? This discrepancy alone would be enough to warrant her a spot in the Hall of Shame, but I'd imagine that would leave Goji Headquarters very sad. So to ensure that their hard work doesn't go to waste, we're gonna shrug that off as a weighing error and boost her overall weight to 70 pounds. A much heavier bird, but still lighter than Maddie, as I believe that was the intention. However, Avis does have enough differences within her that prevent me from renaming her Maddie 2.0. There is no form of vulture or owl DNA present in her gene pool, and without any Argentavis DNA, she instead relies on Hatzegopteryx for her size. Golden Eagle DNA was present to boost vision. Honeybee DNA was added for thermal regulation, and Hummingbird DNA boosts speed and agility. But are these changes enough to grant Avis the title of Queen? No. Don't get me wrong, Avis has the recipe for a very strong bird, as it's basically my recipe with a few ingredients swapped out. But unfortunately, this recipe is undercooked. Let's start by dissecting the Hatzegopteryx a little more. This is one of the largest pterosaurs to ever exist, if not the largest. And yet the only thing it's contributing to Avis is wingspan. And while it's never mentioned, we can also assume it's contributing size. I mean, Avis ain't standing as tall as a buffalo because of the honeybee, I'm telling you that much. But despite this, Avis is still the same height as Maddie. Now, obviously, Goji Headquarters probably made this decision so that they wouldn't mess with the Peregrine Falcon's streamlined build too much. But this massive pterosaur could have allowed Avis to grow a lot bigger than Maddie, maybe a full foot taller. And since Asdarchids already have very powerful flight muscles, this wouldn't sacrifice too much of Avis's speed. This would also work in synergy with the Dakota Raptor a lot more. As I mentioned in Maddie's video, the reason I didn't use a larger Dromaeosaurid is so that I could opt for a more smaller, streamlined, fast-running raptor. But since Avis is using a larger, more powerful Dakota Raptor, using Hatzegopteryx DNA to boost her size a little more could boost a lot of Avis's power stats. Of course, this does mean a much bigger target for Maddie to stoop at, and even without this size boost, Maddie is already faster than Avis. It's not that big a deal, so we'll just trust that Goji Headquarters knows what they're doing by making Avis exactly the same size as Maddie. But let's talk about the real reason Dakota Raptor is here. Teeth. These are already more formidable than the Deinonychus, and are made even more deadly thanks to, not the shrew, those things have gone on strike at this point, but river rat, aka the nutria, another rodent with iron-infused teeth. This combination should give Avis a much more powerful bite than Maddie. Is what I would say if Goji Headquarters didn't underutilize the vampire bat DNA. In Avis's presentation, the only thing the vampire bat contributes is immunity to Maddie's anticoagulant spit, potentially giving Avis the exact same saliva. But that's it. There is no mention of the vampire bat's other amazing traits. To recap, Maddie doesn't just have the bat's saliva, but also its thermal vision and ability to redistribute iron to certain parts of the body, the beak and the talons. Avis lacks these adaptations, meaning that in terms of weaponry, Maddie outdoes her. But again, this is also not that big a deal. Both of these birds are pretty frail. One wrong strike and it's game over for either of them, regardless of who has iron claws and who doesn't. But these birds are not as evenly matched as I thought, because Avis has a secret weapon, the hummingbird. With its omnidirectional movement and agility, Avis will be able to fly in any direction she... Yeah, this is the part of the video where Avis gets hanked. Hummingbirds can achieve their omnidirectional flight because of how unique they are from every other bird, flapping their wings rapidly in a figure 8 motion. A hummingbird maneuver would be impossible at this scale, resulting in broken wings, grounding Avis permanently. But even if Avis was able to pull off this kind of flapping maneuver, another problem would come into play. Hummingbirds need to rest and refuel constantly, meaning that during battle, Avis would need to constantly time out and have easy access to barrels worth of sugar water. No amount of Alpine Swift DNA is going to be able to counteract this. And Maddie sure as heck isn't gonna stand there and let her take a break. She's gonna seize the opportunity. Another thing Goji Headquarters may not have taken into consideration when making Avis doesn't have a boosted immune system or a venomous bite, giving Maddie yet another edge over her. But what about eyesight? Avis has golden eagle eyes, which means her vision is superior, right? Well, peregrine falcons also have really good vision, so Maddie's right up there with ya. Furthermore, the vulture sense of smell, owl hearing, and the aforementioned vampire bat thermal sensors means that Maddie is definitely locating Avis first. The only thing Avis truly improves upon is the exclusion of silent flight. The comments section in Maddie's video made it very clear that the barn owl is more of a detriment than a blessing, as owls lack the necessary oils in their feathers to keep them waterproof. And what are Maddie's wings made of again? Oh yeah, owl feathers! Meaning the moment Maddie gets caught in a rainstorm, she is grounded. But if Avis can only defeat Maddie when she's crippled by outside forces, can we really call that a win? Because in this state, any hybrid can finish her off. So even though Avis is a fabulous and powerful bird, I wouldn't say she's stronger than Maddie. She's lacking certain elements and abilities that can really give her an edge in battle. Now, victory for Avis isn't impossible. There are plenty of scenarios where she could win without having to throw a bucket of water on Maddie. But I think what Avis is missing the most is an original gene pool. Yes, there are unique contributors here, but a lot of the other ingredients are basically very similar to Maddie's. It's kind of like a Thomas and James scenario, where the two characters look very different, but if you dig a little deeper, you'll find that they're basically mirror images of each other. But if this was a fashion show, then Avis would be getting that trophy, no questions asked. You did a great job designing this bird, Goji Headquarters, and I hope you enjoyed seeing your creation in HD digital art! Well, now that this video is public, I'm sure I'm gonna be getting a lot of comments saying, oh, can you challenge my hybrid next? Feature my hybrid in your video. Can you do my hybrid next? And while there's no way for me to stop these kind of comments from showing up, I kindly ask that you hold off from doing that just yet. Maddie will be keeping her title as Queen of the Skies, because this new hybrid I'm making will be taking the title of King.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video from beginning to end. If you want to see more, subscribe to the channel and join the Zainreborn community. See you in the next one. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.